This is the Real Footy Podcast. Hello and welcome to day 4 of the AFL trade period. I'm Sam McClure and joining me once again is Pete Ryan. Hello, Pete.
This is great. I'd do this every second day for the next probably 4 days.
Yeah, we probably couldn't do it. We probably couldn't handle each other every single day for 10 days straight, but this works.
No, this is good. What's been happening, Sam?
Day 4, we have a couple more trades that have gone through, and the Saints are an interesting one because they land flying rowing, but we all thought they were also going to land McClure, and that one's fallen through.
That is the most fascinating development today.
Yep.
The fact that they've pulled the pin on getting McClure.
Because the Giants wanted too much?
Well, that's what they're saying. There was a future 2 that the Giants were hoping to get, and then there were a few other things floating around about St Kilda wanting something back. And
future second sort of feels about right.
It's not too bad.
Maybe the fact that they've got Silvani, they don't feel like they need him as much.
It feels like it's a highly unusual thing to happen to get to this point in trade period when you've been chasing a player for so long. You've got a deal with him for 4 years, and people would say that that's not the done thing, but this is St Kilda. And you're right, they got Jack Silvani in. They've upped Callum Wilkie's contract. They've also added 2 years onto that contract, Carolina revealed today. And they probably think to themselves, do we really want to be locked into McClure at 4 times 700,000 and then have a few key backs coming out in the next couple of years and have made that brutal decision on McClure, who's in Barcelona at the moment?
Well, at least he's in Barcelona.
That's right. And
could be worse, could be at home.
The Giants are prepared to re-sign him, so he'll get a 2-year deal.
He lives to fight another day at AFL level.
Correct. So it's not the end of the world, but it's look, I don't think he'd be doing it to a big management company, clubs.
Okay.
Because he's probably from a boutique management company, but I can't imagine it happening with one of the bigger ones. Anyway, they've made that call.
And Max Heath goes to Melbourne.
From St Kilda.
For a 4th round pick. I actually like this from the Ds. I think a little bit of extra coverage for Gawn, who's just had another amazing year, get his 8th, he got his 8th Blazer as an All-Australian. But, you know, all the talk around Max Heath is that there's a lot of upside. So I don't mind
I like the look of Max Heath too, a little bit from what I saw playing for the Saints, and they've obviously brought in Tom DeCon in St Kilda, so it's fair enough for him to think, where am I going? Goes in Max Gawn, and what a person and player to learn under. Max and Tommy Campbell, it's a good idea.
Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, it looks like the redemption story is on. He had a medical at the Gold Coast on Thursday. I haven't received word exactly how that medical has gone, but assuming that all is okay physically, what an interesting sort of turn of events. It's going to have to be a fascinating negotiation between his management and the Western Bulldogs to see how much of the $900,000 that he's due next year.
You reported on this. What do you think
he's going to get? Well,
what do you think he should get? And what do you think he might get?
So the honest answer is what I think he might get. I really don't know because it could go so many different ways. What do I think he should get is an interesting question. Of the 900, I mean, the Western Bulldogs argument would be, I assume, that we paid him for a year not to play, and he messed us around a bit.
Yep.
So our starting position is we're going to pay him 0.
Yep.
I assume that Paul Connors and Robbie D'Orazio's management team will try to negotiate part of it. What do I think he should get?
Well, it's a hard question to answer.
I don't know, Pete.
But I think there's obviously
$100,000
with these things. I mean, let's not put a dollar figure, but he's going to actually get some sort of. There'll be a payout to get him off the books.
Yep.
And
it may depend on what the deal ends up being.
Yeah.
Like they might manipulate the money based on what comes back the other way.
Yeah. And I think, again, speaking about management companies, it's not to say that they hold this over them, because I think Robbie D'Orazio and the Bulldogs have had a pretty good relationship this year in relation to Jamarra. Yep. It hasn't been, aggressive or aggro. They've actually understood understood each other's position. So I think they'll work out a position that's fair and move forward without really worrying too much about it.
Can I just say, on a personal level, I think it's great that Jamarra is getting a second chance. Now, I know that there'll be people saying that he may not deserve it, and I don't know him particularly well. I've only met him a few times. He seems like a lovely fella. Clearly, he's had some issues for a while now, and I don't know how many of those are self-inflicted. I don't know how many of them are from childhood or personal circumstances. What I do know is that footy can be a great lifeline.
No, that's true.
He's been given a second chance.
I think that, well, you reported this, so tell me, there will be caveats around his contract, which means that he's on a second chance, but the risk
is very low from Gold Coast perspective.
Yeah. And good on them for giving him an opportunity. I 100% agree that it is great that he's going to get a second chance. I hope he takes that second chance and makes the most of it. I'm not sure he deserves it, but
sure, and I get that.
That's fine. Those two things are...
They can be mutually exclusive.
Well, they can coexist, can't they?
They can coexist. He may not deserve the second chance, but he's been given one.
Because he's a good player. And
that's right.
To be fair, he was a player who came into the system and had been a very popular player, and he's drifted away from some of those things that kept him stable. So he'll get up to the Gold Coast. Hopefully he gets slotted into that forward line and plays some good footy from here until whenever.
Hey, I want to ask you about Stephen May, who you've written about. But before we do that, I just want to get two quick conversations about Zach Merrett and Zach Butters, the two Zachs. All the calls that I've made today, there's something afoot with both of them.
Yep.
So what I know about the Merrett situation is that clearly Hawthorn and his manager, Tom Petroro, are working behind the scenes on what a deal could look like before they initially take it to Essendon.
Correct.
I believe that the last thing they want is to open up negotiations with something that Essendon would see as offensive and therefore get things off to a bad start.
Yep.
Because it may take a couple of days to get going again.
Yep.
So it seems like that is getting closer. I honestly don't know what that deal would look like other than to say it would involve Hawthorn's first pick this year and their first pick next year.
That's correct. And then could there be a player? I inquired about Mitch Lewis. No one's spoken about him directly, but there has been mail that might be a possibility. I'm not sure whether that would entice Essendon. Cam McKenzie's obviously been a player that was denied opportunity, but I think I don't think they want to lose Cam McKenzie.
No, they don't, but he's also not getting a game.
No.
So if they want to win a flag in the next 5 years, you have to get ruthless with these decisions.
Correct.
When Carlton got Chris Judd, they didn't want to lose Josh Kennedy.
But they're also aware, Hawthorn, from my understanding, is that it is harder to convince a player to go to Essendon than it may if they'd say got the deal with Bailey Humphrey, which ain't going to happen, to entice a player to potentially move up to the Gold Coast.
Yep.
That is a difficulty for them.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But, Tommy Petroro, from my understanding, Hawthorn, he's doing his best to come up with something that can satisfy Zach Merrett. Satisfy Essendon to get Zach Merrett to Hawthorn.
And the Zach Butters thing,
you know more about this than me.
There's something going on here.
You wrote about Zach Butters in about round 6.
Yeah,
So he's a free agent next year. He's a pre-agent this year if they were to offload him, as in open the door for him to be traded, because clearly he wants to come back to Victoria at some point.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, Zach wants to come back.
And most people would assume that, therefore, he'll come back to Victoria this time next year. Do Port Adelaide get a better deal and get that kind of speculation out of the way, or do they give themselves a year to hold him tight?
Yeah, I don't love the idea of keeping someone knowing that they're probably going anyway. And I think Port Adelaide made a mistake in the Ken Hinkley-Josh Carr handover.
Yep.
I think if they believed in their heart that Zach's going, this is just a personal opinion, I think they should look at a deal now because they probably get a lot for him right now.
Well,
they'd probably get 3 first-round picks for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And who would the clubs that would be in line? So Hawthorn are obviously hunting for midfielders.
Yeah, if Merrett falls through, I think they would have a crack.
Geelong are keen on him, but probably this time next year.
Yeah, and Geelong have the extra salary cap that no one else has. Sorry, that's too soon.
No, Geelong. The Bulldogs definitely
like that
interested.
as a Geelong man. You didn't like that little quip.
I didn't mind that, but the fact is they had an inquiry that they spent 6 months taking people's phones and they found nothing.
Don't get defensive.
I'm not getting defensive. I'm just stating the facts.
I know you're very close to people down the highway.
No, I'm not actually. I was at times.
And the Bulldogs who we grew up supporting, and he's a Packers Marsh boy, so he's from that side of town.
Yeah, no, Darley.
So the Dogs will.
I think he'll be a Port Adelaide player if I have to put it right now.
I agree.
At the end of the trade period.
I think so too.
But there could be a curveball where someone has an absolute late-minute dip at him.
Where's Stephen May going to play next year?
I reckon Melbourne.
Wow.
There's not a lot of love for him, but that can change with a week to go. He hasn't yet even sat in front of anyone. People seem to think he's changed a bit, Stephen May. Like, he's obviously a difficult person to deal with internally for the D's, but he would argue that he's a father now and he's a bit more settled off field, and if he got a second chance, he'd play good footy.
He's a good player. Jeez, he's a good
player. His form dipped this year. I reckon he's probably 2 years behind. Like, if 2 years ago he would have been absolute Monty to get, he needs to pull his head in. That's simply it, and I think he'd be prepared to do that at a new club. North Melbourne, St Kilda would be the interesting one, wouldn't it? Because he would thrive in that tough love environment.
Yeah, I'd love Stephen May under Ross Lyon.
Yeah, be amazing.
I have no idea why North wouldn't get him for cheap.
Because they don't need a player of his.
No, well, they need guys who can play, particularly guys who can play down back.
No, I agree with that. But do they need his personality in? I don't know. Maybe they take a risk.
Maybe not, Pete. But I tell you this right now: if North are going to go up the ladder like they keep telling everyone they're going to, they need to stop leaking goals.
Yeah, no, their trade period's been nowhere.
Nowhere.
I don't actually know what they're doing.
If I'm a North fan, I'm wondering where.
Yeah,
how are we improving? How are we getting better here?
Well, it's interesting because even Hawthorn a couple of years ago picked up Marbu Chol and a few kind of
B graders. Yep.
B graders who no one really thought much of it.
Yep, Meek.
Hawthorn. That's what. Oh, sorry, North Melbourne. You'd want at least that happening.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to fill some gaps.
Yeah, just a few players that you think, oh, well.
And then hopefully the guys that you're after to be superstars will become that.
Correct. It'll be interesting to see if they have a dip at Leclerc.
Yep.
Doubt it, but they might.
Any update with Charlie Curnow?
Well, we're hearing whispers that things are starting to move on that. There's a level of confidence that Charlie will become a Sydney player.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of first-round picks, potentially one from this year and one from next year that could be part of that, and they'll need a player. So it could be anyone from Will Hayward, Ollie Florent. They're both in the kind of stable, the same stable as Curnow. You mentioned the other day on the podcast that Ben Ainsworth is a chance to get to Carlton, which again I think will happen.
I think he's probably a Carlton player next year, whatever happens.
Exactly.
Even if Curnow stays.
Yeah, exactly. So
sounds like a future second round.
That helps Carlton. You know, when they talk about the net effect of the trade period.
Yes.
We've lost Curnow, but we've got all this set up for the future. I think, I think Curnow is definitely one who will move. I think Petrarca will move. Zach Merrett, I'm still uncertain about.
You think you'll stay, don't you?
I do, but then history tells you that eventually they go. I'm just not sure Hawthorn have the assets.
No, but they do have the assets. They're just not willing to give them up.
But that's the point. That's a good point. Hawthorn's not willing to give up the assets that they are required to give up if they want to get a good player.
I will be as critical of Hawthorn as I was a few years ago of Sydney when they bailed out on Danaher late. It is incumbent on Hawthorn, given that they're the ones that have gone after him. They met with him. Yep. They've got to get this deal done.
Yep.
Now, I know you don't want to lose a McKenzie or a Ward or a Lewis, but sometimes you've got to make hard calls if you want him in.
I don't think they'd be so fussed about losing Lewis, but I'm not sure that would appeal to Essendon. I mean, they want to hang on to everyone.
First round next year and a starting full forward in Lewis, that doesn't appeal? For a guy that's been talking poorly about your club for the last few years.
They'll say that, I know. Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I mean, I get that argument. There's part of me that's just, maybe it's cut off your nose, spite your face, that just thinks, oh, well.
No, I get that.
Suck it up. Mate.
Yeah, but I just think the relationship has become so toxic. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I just don't think a romantic dinner is going to get this marriage back on course.
No, but that's on one person.
Who? Zach. There's always two sides to a story, though, Pete.
No, that's true. They do need to change a few things to make him happy as well. Like, clearly he's not just bailing because everything's perfect. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, I'll see what happens there.
Couple of questions before we go. David M. If it doesn't make a lot of sense for Clayton Oliver to join the Giants midfield, does it make any more sense for Christian Petrarca to join the Suns midfield?
David Mundy weighing into our podcast.
Who says it? Why is it quoted? What if it doesn't make a lot of sense? Did we say that?
No. Well, I didn't. I think I said it didn't make a lot of sense for Clayton Oliver and Tom Green to play together.
Yeah. As a fellow ranger, I found that very offensive.
Yeah, no, I know you did. Well, I didn't take into account the ranger aspect. which probably elevates it a little bit.
They will have to purchase more SPF 50.
No, but GWS are really keen on it. I would say that. They think that Clayton Oliver and Tom Green can combine really well in the midfield. They'll lose Josh Kelly probably with that hip operation, and they've got enough outside run. So I suppose having two bulls in there, I think Christian Petracca's a multi-position player.
Oh, yeah, I think he's perfect at Gold Coast, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he's not the guy either in the forward line or the midfield.
Correct.
So there's no pressure on him.
No.
Like, he's the third best midfielder behind Anderson and Rao.
Absolutely.
And in the forward line, he's playing a forward line with Walter, King, Jamarra.
Yeah. And he's got Took Miller to play that defensive role in the midfield, while Anderson and Rao and Petracca, he does create an extra element.
I love Petracca at
I can
Gold
see
Coast.
why Bailey Humphrey's a bit worried about Petracca coming in, though.
But if you're Bailey Humphrey, look, wouldn't you just say, I want to become Christian Petracca, I'm going to learn from him?
True.
Like, Bailey Humphrey's a really good player, but he hasn't achieved half of what Christian Petracca has.
No, but they're similar types. Humphrey will be
You can't have too many
No.
mid-sized match winners, though, can you?
No, but I can see why he'd potentially be worried about that.
And
He'll
another
stay anyway.
question from Yearning for Yesteryear.
Who isn't?
Today, we've seen evidence online of Zach Butters playing golf with Sam Durham and Darcy Parish, and Bailey Smith hanging out with Charlie Curnow. Can we draw any conclusions from these events? And what happened to the good old days of footballers sinking bintangs in Bali in October?
I know. That's a very good question, actually.
Good question.
The last bit of that, what happened to the good old days of footballers sinking bintangs in Bali?
People still go to Bali. Is that a thing now?
It's funny, I bumped into Stevie J today. He's heading off to Bali.
He would have been a Bali operator, Stevie J.
No,
he would have sunk bintangs in Bali.
Yeah, I think a lot of them did. Heaps of players did, but now they go to more exotic locations, and the Brodie Grundys of the world have taken over and start to go to places that half of us haven't heard of.
Now, the first point of Zach Butters,
it
has been put. His scorecard from the day's round at the national, and Coach Shank has been passed on to me.
Yeah, right.
He's had 30 points playing off 10, which is okay.
Better than me.
It's
way better.
30
than
points
me.
is fine, but Gunner Matter is the easier of the four courses.
Yep.
But it would have been windy down there at the Nash today.
How'd the others go?
Sam Durham hasn't had a great day.
Poor old Sam.
Darcy Parish had 32 points and finished 7th. That's good.
It's a good effort from Darcy.
But the good news with Zach is that he wasn't having a great day, and he doubled 17, which is an easy par 4, but he's made birdie on 18.
That's a good finish.
And that keeps you coming back.
Yeah, no, I always say that.
But if you have Durham and Parish, like they needed more birdies on this scorecard if they're going to get him to Essendon. They should have been kicking his ball out of the rough and
that's true.
reading his putts for him.
That says a lot about you, Sam. I'd just play it straight and just say, look, if you want to come, you play golf with us.
I'd make sure he had 43 points.
Yeah, exactly.
We ordered him a nice bottle of Pinot at the end of the round.
And what about Charlie Curnow and Bailey Smith actually training on, what is it, October the 10th? They do train a lot.
I don't know whether to be excited or petrified about Curnow and Smith together.
I'm excited. I think that's great. The Surf Coast would be buzzing.
Wouldn't it just?
Yeah. They'd love it. Imagine watching those two hang out at Torquay and just run out on the oval together. They wouldn't be doing that.
Or at the pub.
Even better. They do that a bit with a few Barrys. Anyway, Sam, it's great. We're 4 days in. How many days to go? 5, 6? 6 days to go. A lot can happen. A lot's already happened.
Taking into account the weekend. Do they do deals over the weekend?
Oh, a lot happens over the weekend.
Really?
Yep. Races.
Oh.
Caulfield Stakes. People trying to get hold of each other.
Remember last year? Caulfield Guineas.
Yeah. Remember last year, the whole Dan Houston saga? Everyone was trying to get hold of list managers and people were at the races. And
I ran into Harley Reid at the races last year. It was fun.
Yes. Well, Nick Dacos was promoting the Caulfield Carnival.
Oh, he's everywhere, Nick.
Runner-up.
That's all we have time for today. The pod will be back tomorrow. It's WooTube Andrew Wu and Mark McGowan. Thank you, Pete.
Great to see you, Sam.
Any questions or suggestions? We get great questions. For the pod during trade week, you can email us realfootypod@theage.com.au. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your pods. We'll see you soon.